doing, that's just a good old Pythagorean theorem. So you're missing the hypotenuse. So all you're looking at on that one is 10 squared plus 24 squared is equal to your hypotenuse squared. That got me 100 and 576. We know that's 676. 676. Square root of 676. That is a perfect square. It is 26. Okay, we don't have anything new on this, you know. This is all just review stuff. So I'm going to go pretty quick. Just tell me if you don't understand something and need me to slow down. On number 2, it's 16 to the 1/4 power. You could type that in your calculator like it is and get the right answer. There's no problem with that. I remember this is power over root. So I did the 4th root of 16 to the 1st, which was 2. And number 3, you got the square root of 4 minus the square root of 196. Well, the square root of 4 is 2 minus the square root of 196 is 14. So that was just negative 12. All right, number 4. Did a little bit more work on it. I made a table. You know, it was involving the distance, rate, and time, and we had part of our trip we were bicycling and part of it we were hiking, so I made me a table, set that up how I did it. I had my bike. This thing better work right today. I had my bike route and my hike. And I had a column for distance, rate, and time. Alright, it said that I rode my bike for 12 miles, so that distance would be 12. And then I hiked an additional 8 miles, so that distance would be 8. Then it said the total time for the trip was 5 hours. The rate when I rode my bike was 10 miles per hour faster than when I was walking. So if my rate when I was walking was X, it's 10 miles an hour faster when I rode my bike, so it would be X plus 10. Now normally, distance equals rate times time. I'm trying to solve for time. So that would be distance divided by rate. So here I would have 12 divided by X plus 10. And here I would have 8 divided by X. Now it told me my total excursion here took 5 hours. So this time plus this time, it's got to equal 5 hours. So that would be 12 over X plus 10 plus 8 over X is equal to 5 hours. Now what I would do, I would get rid of the fractions. So I got an X plus 10 and an X, which means I'm going to multiply that whole thing by X plus 10 and an X. So when you go here, the X plus 10s will cancel out, so you'll just have 12 times X. And then when, whoa, Nelly Bozo. Alright, let me put this thing down and I'll just have to go stand in front of you. I hate standing in front of you. I can't see around. But it'll let me put it down. Okay, so then we still have to distribute to the 8, and what's on bottom with the 8, just the X will cancel out. So when we go here, this sucks. Okay, so when we go here, just the X would cancel out, so I would have 8 times X plus 10. So we're looking at now 12X and then 8X plus 8, because I took that 8 and distributed to the X plus 10. Okay? Then from there, when I distribute to the 5, nothing cancels out because there's nothing on bottom of the 5. So we're looking at 5x squared plus 50x, you. Alright, so combine like terms. I ended up with 5x squared plus 30x minus 80. We'll step back and look at that, where I got all that from. Okay, here the 12x and the 8x was 20x. So then when I subtracted that, 50 minus 20 is where the 30 came from. And then I moved the 80 over there. That's why it was a negative 80 on that. Okay, you could do the quadratic formula or factor it like that. I chose to take a 5 out, made my numbers more manageable. So if I divided all that by 5, got me x squared plus 6x. Forgot what 80 divided by 5 was, 16. That was factorable. Factors of 16 that add to positive 6, that'd be 8 and negative 2. So you'd have x plus 8 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. Then you set both of those equal to 0 and solve. You've got a dummy answer. Because if I took x plus 8 and set that equal to 0, that got me negative 8. And remember, x was our rate. You can't go in negative miles per hour. So you can throw that one out. Just got to worry about this one. X minus 2 equals 0. Gets you, add your 2, gets you x equals 2. Okay, go back up and look at my original table. X stood for the rate I was walking. So my hike, I'm going 2 miles per hour. Then for the bike, it said I went 10 miles per hour faster than that. So 2 plus 10, I would bike 12 miles per hour. So those would be your 2 answers. I think Taylor Dixon is submitting every assignment we've ever had right now. I keep Taylor Dixon. Taylor Dixon. That's a Congress. Taylor Dixon submitted like 2. She's into February now. 2/27/17.
We can't.
She's out of control. Good thought there, Justin. Alright, number 5. Alright, good on number 4. You maybe you could have worked with the choices and went backwards on that. Probably could have. I don't know. I always like making those tables. Those are interesting to me. Alright, on 5, I'm going to do it in the parts the way I did it on my, when I worked it out. That 3m plus 4 is squared, so I got to take that thing twice and FOIL it to start with. So that's what I'm going to do first. Write the 3m plus 4 twice. So that gets me 9m squared. Here I got 12m and 12m, that's 24m. And then there's 16. Okay, so that's for that first section that said 3m plus 4 squared. Then it says minus 11 times 3m plus 4. So now I got to distribute a negative 11 to that 3m plus 4. So that gets me negative 33m minus 44. Okay, then you still got a plus 30 equals 0 stuck on the end. So plus 30 equals 0. Okay. Now I see I got some m's and I've got some constants that I can combine. So m squared doesn't have anything, it's just going to stay 9m squared. 24m minus 33m, is that negative 9? Yes. Minus, that's Taylor Dixon. Let's see what rate this was. 330. Oh, we're up to March now. Constants, 16. Negative 44 and 30 is what? 2. Alright, so when I got there, I just went into the quadratic formula. Normally I'd like to try to factor stuff.
How is she doing all of them?
She's just going down the list and hitting submit, I guess. I don't know.
Did she already do it? I don't know. Or she's doing the answer.
It's just, I don't know.
She's just not doing them because she's one of those who really can't say it.
I guess, but she stood it for this long. Why is it just now bothered her? I did the quadratic formula. You ready? Quit distracting Angie. negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. 4 times 36 times 2 is 72. 81 minus 72 is 9. Perfect square there. Square root of 9 is 3. So we have to do 9 plus 3 and divided by 18, and 9 minus 3 and divided by 18. By 18, 2/3. 6 by 18, 1/3. Yep. D and N. Alright, deal with number 6. I like all she has right now. Just go in there and be like, would you stop? Fraction can't have a 0 on the bottom of a fraction. So that's going to be how we're going to get our answer to that. We're going to take the bottom of the denominator, negative 3x minus 7, and we're going to solve that, set it equal to 0, and see what would make that undefined. And then since our inequality says we've got to be greater than or equal to that, we'll know that anything bigger than that would work. Okay, so our denominator there, negative 3x minus 7, I set that equal to 0, because I know that can't equal 0 where it's undefined. After 7, negative 3x is 7 divided by negative 3, and you get negative 7/3. So if x were negative 7/3, that inequality is no bueno, it's undefined. But I can be bigger than 7/3 and not be 0, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for, everything that's bigger than negative 7/3. So C and D, the only thing that's got, well, C's the only one's got negative 7/3 in it. So it's got to be C. I didn't notice that yesterday. We debated C and D with 6th period. Wait. What are we waiting on, Willis? Okay. Slamming your fist at me, Louise.
Why would it be, how would it be D? Because
It wouldn't be D.
I know, but why would you have the negative?
I didn't notice there was no negative on it. So I had to explain to them about positive infinity or negative infinity.
Okay. But it's C because it's the X and not the X.
No, it's C because greater than this, it's got to be greater than that, and greater would go to infinity. If the D had had a negative on it, that would be less than, since it goes to negative infinity. Because remember on your number line, if here is negative 7/3, and I got to be bigger than that,
Yeah.
that's positive infinity. But if the original problem had had a less than sign, that negative infinity would have been okay. But it didn't have a negative 7/3, and I didn't have my glasses on. Yes. Alright. Numero 7 says find f of g. Remember that little circle there, f of g? That means I'm going to take the g function, which is that trinomial, and I'm going to plug it in for the x on the f function. So the f function says 5x, so I'm going to put my 5, but instead of x, I got to put that whole g function, which is 6x squared plus 3x minus 3. So there's 5x, and then the f one says minus 6. So our chore here is just to distribute that 5, and then if we have any like terms, we'll combine them. So that gets me 30x squared plus 15x minus 15. Got some like terms there with the negative 15 minus 6, which is negative 21. Alright, now the dilemma here, that's on C and D. Bless you. The difference on C and D is the domain. Remember, domain's what we can plug in for the x. Times when you can't plug something in for an x is if it'll make a 0 on the denominator, because that's undefined. or if it'll make a negative underneath a radical, because that would be imaginary. Do we have a fraction or a radical involved in this problem? No, so we don't have any limitations on what we can plug in. So we want the one that says negative infinity to infinity, which is C, as in California. Alright, number 8. Ask us on 8 to tell where the graph is increasing and decreasing. Since all the choices go increasing, I'll do that one first. Increasing in my Plano Coach Wright's dumb words means where I'm climbing uphill. So if I'm reading this graph left to right, I'd be going uphill over here on this left side, wouldn't I? That'd be where I would be riding my bike uphill. This comes from forever down, which means negative infinity. I reach the top of that mountain when I'm at x equals 0, right? So I go uphill from negative infinity to 0. Question is the way they're marked. A, C, and B all have a parentheses on the 0. D has a bracket on the 0. So does my graph touch 0? Yeah, look at the one on your paper. Yeah, it touches it, so that would have a bracket there. So I'm going uphill from forever negative until I get to 0. That'd be my increasing, so that tells you that it's got to be D. And then once we hit 0, we get to put our hands in there and go down the hill 0 to... Would it be? This is a tricky question. It would be infinity, but why is it positive infinity? Right, very good. It's inching this way. A lot of people will say, well, it's going down. It should be negative again. But these are your x values. That's how that reads. A lot of people get confuzzled in that. All right. C, yes. Is in Chicago.
Oh, D.
8 is D, yes. I'm sorry, I was looking at 7. I'm screwing y'all up. 8 is D, as in Denmark. Is it D, do it? Is that what she said?
Huh? It's down.
Oh.
She has a sprinkle of Jesus stuff.
Sprinkle of Jesus is insane.
Sprinkle of Jesus gets deep sometimes.
Yeah, yesterday was pretty deep.
Today it's pretty deep. You want to know what it says?
Sure.
It says, perhaps when you thought you weren't good enough, the truth was that you were overqualified.
They just didn't know it.
Yeah.
9. 9 is written in logarithmic form. Log base b of n is equal to e. I'm going to rewrite that in exponential form. Remember that stuff from a few moons ago? So it's got log base 6, so my b is 6. My e is 3. And then my n is 4x minus 5. Okay, so when you do 6 cubed, that gets you 216. Check me out on that. Now you got a 2-step middle school equation to solve. Got 5 being subtracted. So we add it. 221 is equal to 4x. Divide by 4. And this test took the easy way out. They left it that way. 221 divided by 4. And it doesn't reduce, but it's a, I don't see a mix, an improper fraction like that very often.
So you don't make your things? Oh!
They got a program that I just tell it how many and what kind, and then yeah.
So you kind of know it, you don't?
Yeah, I got some. I can delete and add and stuff. Yeah. Okay, number 10. You could do that in your calculator. You remember how to do log base in your calculator? Hit math, scroll it down, test that out. It is false. That does not equal 0, but you might want to test it and make sure you remember how to do that when you get that ready to turn to page 3. It's false.
Yeah, because it really equals 0.422765448.
Thank you.
That's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 submitted lates from Taylor Dixon.
Should we email her if you'd like to know what you mean? 14.
Gotta go check all these to delete them.
She's been throwing up.
I know. She's so exhausted.
Listen, I didn't have time to make my stuff because all last night this morning I've been thinking about bringing it home.
Alright, y'all get false on that one? Alright, I did follow the directions for once on number 11. It says use synthetic division, so I'll do that with you. I wouldn't have done that normally. That's an easy one to factor, but it says use synthetic division, so we will. It's got x plus 9 on the bottom, which means it's a negative 9 that I'm going to put outside my box. And then inside the box, I got a 1x squared, a 2x, and a negative 63. Okay, drop your 1, multiply, negative 9, add, negative 7, multiply, 63, add 0. Okay, so this started off as 1x squared, which means that's a 1x to the first. So 1x minus 7. If you go back to the original problem, you know the factors of negative 63 that added 2 are 9 and negative 7. So you could have gotten that factory where you can fuzzle off.
You just said it really fast. I didn't know.
Did it sink in yet?
No.
You know where I got this stuff?
Yeah, from the.
Okay. And then it started off as 1x squared. So 1x on first. Yep. And then constant.
And then so the line.
Was this 7?
Yeah.
Was that?
Okay. So that's all you do?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I feel like I'm thinking way too hard.
Alright, 12. I did 12 composing directions. I did it with synthetic division again. So it says K is 3. So that means just a 3 would go outside. Then it says, you got that 3x to the 4th minus 9x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x. And don't forget, you got a constant of 0. I don't know if it makes a difference on this one or not. It doesn't, but
Why do we have constants in here?
because there's no regular number. It doesn't say like plus 3 or anything like that. Alright, so I drop my 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Add and get 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Add and get 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Add and get 0. 0, 0. So it didn't make a difference there. Alright, so to write my answer now, that original polynomial was 3x to the 4th, which means my 3 is a 3x cubed. So I got a 3x cubed. I don't have an x squared. And I got a 2x. And then I don't have anything else. So I got to have that as part of my answer. Bad news is all of them except for C have got that. Right? Alright.
No.
Hey.
I ain't got it either. It's squared, not cubed.
Oh, good eye there, Austin. Good job. So we're looking at just B or D then. Yep. That's a good eye, Austin. I didn't catch that. Alright, difference on B and D is the x plus 3 or the x minus 3. If our K was 3, that had to have come from the factor of x minus 3, right? Because you would set that equal to 0 and add the 3. So we got to have that and that, which would be what number are we on? 12, yes, D. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. Alright, 13, solve the system by elimination or combination. Looking at it there, I did elimination. I made my x's both be 6's. Okay, so I'm not going to write the original equations down. I'm going to go ahead to get a 6x on the first equation. I got to multiply that whole equation by 3. So that got me 6x squared minus 12y squared equals negative 168. Then to get a 6x squared on the second one, I had to multiply the whole thing by 2. And that got me 6x squared plus 6y squared is equal to 120. Now my 6x squareds are same sign, so to eliminate those dudes, I'm subtracting 6x squared minus 6x squared is nothing. Negative 12y squared minus 6y squared is negative 18y squared. And negative 168 minus 120 is negative 288. Divide by negative 18. Y squared is 16. I do the square by square rooting, but don't forget when you square root 16, you actually got two answers. Yes, it's 4, but it's also negative 4. Okay, and those are my y's. Remember, that's the second of the ordered pair. So I can mark out A, because A's got some 2's in the y's. And I can mark out D, because D's got some 2's in the y's. Alright, so now I got to plug a 4 or negative 4 back into one of my original equations. On my paper, I plugged it in the 2x squared one. I plugged a positive 4 in there. So I have 2x squared minus 4 times 4 squared equals negative 56. 4 squared is 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. And I added my 64, that was 8. So 2x squared is 8 divided by 2. That x squared is 4. Undo the squared by square rooting, and x can be a positive or a negative 2. That was all when I plugged in a positive 4. So that means I could have a 2 with a 4, or I could have a negative 2 with a 4. So that has to be C. Good job. Alright, 14, we made a chart about the ranges of the different trig functions, and I looked back and found that the tangent was the one that went from negative infinity to infinity, so that was possible. Okay, if you couldn't, if you couldn't find your chart on that, and you needed to work that out, when you've got the trig function, when you've got the trig function, people just get on these and start hitting submit like crazy. When you have the trig function right next to the variable, you can't hit tangent of negative 4.46 because this is the tangent of theta. So it's like you need to solve for theta kind of deal. But to do that, normally you would divide by tangent. But you can't divide by tangent. You can do the inverse. And we didn't do this in class because I just gave you the chart and we did it that way. But you could hit the button that has the inverse, which I think is just second tangent of negative 4.46, and see if it gives you an answer or not. That's how you could do that if you lost your chart. It'd be possible if it says error or something like that. It'd be impossible. Get you an answer, Angie?
Yeah. Give me negative 1.
Yep. Alright, on 15, easy one, but the choices B, C, and D are so close together that you have to know how to round. I had some kids in 6th period yesterday that missed it because they couldn't round correctly. It says round to 3 decimal places, so do that one. Check 15 and see, tell me what you get. We'll see if you can round correctly. Good reading, Angie. It is D. Okay, so see how they got that one there. Alright, 16. Got a lot of words on this. Solve the rational inequality. First write it was 0, blah, blah, blah. What we would do to start solving this, we got negative 2 over x minus 4. And I'm just going to worry about the equal right now. We'll throw that inequality in there later. To get rid of this fraction on this, we would multiply this whole thing by that denominator. So I would multiply this whole thing by x minus 4. So here it would cancel out, so I would just have negative 2. Here I would have to distribute, so that would be 2x minus 8. Okay, add your 8, so that will get you 6 is equal to 2x. Solve for x. Okay, now the wording on that was funny because it's talking about zeros. Well, remember when we solved quadratics, that was another name, solutions, roots, zeros. So x equals 3 would be a 0 for that, which would be C. Alright, 17, we're standing on a flat field, throwing a ball across the field to the other kid. What's its height? So you know that's making a parabola shape when we do that. The height is the vertex of that parabola. We know to start finding the vertex, you do the opposite of b divided by 2a. So in this case, my b is 8, so I would have negative 8 divided by 2 times the a is negative 4. So that's negative 8 divided by negative 8, which means that x is 1. Okay, normally when we did these in class, then we had to plug that back in and solve for the y. But there's only one choice that tells you that the x is 1. B is right.
Bartholomew.
18 is a calculator one. Remember the LN button's right below log. So hit LN 253. Tell me what you get on that. D, good job. H4. I grabbed that one in my calculator. So on 19, try that. Grab that in your calculator and test me on that. See what you got. A it is. Good job. Everybody gets caught up on 18 and 19. Let me know when we'll look at the last page. Was 8. Good? Texting it out. So. Speaking of those. Alright, we got a hyperbola. We did those not too long ago on number 20. Alright, in the equation, minus y squared 22, 17. Alright, in the equation is where we get that x-intercept from. Remember, our x-intercept comes from this is x squared over a squared. So we take the square root of that and just get a. Okay, so the square root of 22, I rounded that to about 4.7. So that means my hyperbola here crosses the x-axis at close to 4.7. Okay, the question wants to know how far away is the sun from the x-intercept. Well, look at your paper, not necessarily my drawing, but look at your paper. What do you notice about the distance from the origin to the x-intercept and the distance from the sun to the x-intercept? Looks about the same, doesn't it? So this is 4.7, then the distance to the sun would be 4.7. There you go. Alright, 21. Alright, first off, normally you start, remember this is recent stuff, but we start on our initial side and we go counterclockwise, we would be going positive. This asks for a negative 90 degrees, which means I would be coming this way. So right here would be my negative 90 degrees, right? If I wanted to get to this y-axis from the origin, I would go over 0 and down some negative number. So wherever you are there, I'll just say negative 1. That would get me on that y-axis, right? Alright, tangent is the reciprocal of cotangent. Okay? This is cosine. First ordered pair is always cosine. The second one is sine. Okay, to get tangent, it's sine divided by cosine. That's the tangent, which will be undefined because there's a 0 on bottom. But I want the reciprocal of that. So it'll be 0 over, and any 0 divided by anything is 0. I couldn't say it with 100% certainty, but I think we made a chart about that also, about the major angles, what their different trig functions were, like the 90s, the 180s, the 270s. Seems like we did. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, when I did 22 yesterday, I started working it out algebraically. It took me too long and too much paper, so I gave up and plugged choices in. So looking at A and B, they both had a 3, so I started with that. I plugged a 3 in to see if 3 would work. So if I did that, that would be the square root of 2 times 3 plus 3 plus the square root of 4 minus 3, and that has to equal 4. Okay, so this is 6 plus 3 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. Does 3 plus 1 equal 4? Yeah, so 3 works. So it's got to be A or B. So now I got to test that 11 ninths to see if that works. So I'm going to plug 11 ninths in. 2 times 11 ninths plus 3 plus 4 minus 11 ninths has to equal 4. Okay, I didn't show all of my steps on this. This radical I'll simplify down to 7/3, and this one to 5/3. 7 plus 5 is 12, so I got 12/3. Is that the same as 4? Yes. So it had to be 11 ninths and 3. Alright, the next two, 23 and 24, both had to do with discriminants. Now, the discriminant, if you didn't remember it, negative b, so minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac. If you don't remember the discriminant and you do the whole quadratic formula, you can still get the right answer. You'll just do more work than is needed. The discriminant is just the part underneath the radical. And what the discriminant tells us, this has been a few minutes ago, if the discriminant's a positive number, which means bigger than 0, you have 2 real answers. If the discriminant is less than 0, which means a negative answer, you got 2 non-real, or that's also known as imaginaries. Remember, if you have a negative underneath there, you get an I, right? If your discriminant's equal to 0, you have 1 real. Okay? So on number 23, it says it wants exactly 1 solution. So I need it to equal 0. Okay, so I'm going to take the discriminant, which would just be b squared, so negative 12 squared minus 4a, and I don't know my c. They used a k. And I need that to equal 0. Okay, 4 times 36, that actually is 144. So I got 144 minus 144k is equal to 0. Now, a lot of y'all look at that and you got a drop of common sense and you know what k has to be. Good. Whoever said that. If you don't know, that's okay. Go ahead and solve it algebraically. Solve it for k, so we would subtract our 144. That would give me negative 144k is equal to negative 144. K can be multiplied by negative 144, so you would divide by negative 144. So k would equal negative 144 divided by negative 144 is 1.
What is the 144?
Negative 12 squared, b squared. My b was negative 12.
Okay.
Good question.
I'm about to say something really random, but the page before this one, your 11 ounce fraction looked like a face.
Yeah, that was random. Thank you.
So the answer is what?
Yes. 8. to use that same discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, for number 24. Are you ready for that one? Okay. B squared, negative 8 squared, minus 4ac. Forms 416 times 464, but a negative times a negative is a positive. So I'm looking at 64 plus 64. Well, that's a positive answer, right? 128 is a positive answer, which means that's bigger than 0. Which means there are 2 real solutions. Now, they worded them different on that. They said x-intercepts. Remember, that means zeros where they cross the x-axis, so that would be C, 2 x-intercepts. Woo, awesome. All right, last one. Y'all done good. It's in log form, and like we did on the first page, or whatever page it was, second page maybe, I'm going to rewrite it in exponential form. So normally log form is log base b of n is equal to e, and I'm going to go to exponential form, which is b to the e is equal to n. So the base would be x, exponent will be 3, and the number will be 9. So I rewrote that exponential form. When I solve for x, it's being raised to the third power. How do I undo a third power? Cube root it. Very good, Justin. So x would be the cube root of 9. And that's where they stopped. So there wasn't a lot of work to do on that one.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
That I didn't do wrong with it. 14. How would you get that into 5? Isn't that what you said to do on that one?
When it's the trig function right next to the variable, you have to do the inverse. So you hit second tan and then type in that.
Yeah, I do want to know those ones. Because, you know, I put that string.
Yeah.
And then I typed in it like,
Did you do second tan?
yeah.
Okay. Do it again.
It's negative. I might have just typed it in wrong. And then what is it? I got negative 7.
So you got an answer.
Okay.
So it's possible. If you'd got an error or undefined or something, it would be impossible.
Okay, I think I typed it in.
Alright, next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, you got an assignment in your Chromebook that you'll do on notebook paper and turn into a sub. Okay? Then when we come back after that, we'll do our semester test. Mr. Austin,
I'm only here like half a period those days.
you still got to do it.
What's for baseball?
I know. Still
If
got
I
to
don't
do it.
finish it, I'm saying.
You'll have to do it outside of class at
Oh
some
my
point.
god.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So if we're excused from that test, we ain't got to take no test next week?
We can make a
There won't be any more notes.
No, no test. If we're excused, see if this is non-seniors, we'll take the test. Never mind.
The only things you will be responsible for are the 2 assignments on
Are
next
we
2
gonna-
days.
Is
Are
it-
we going to be in here Monday to take the test?
Yeah.
Yes, the assembly Monday's at 1.
Okay.
So that's why I gave myself 2 days because of the Mondays in the afternoon assembly and Tuesdays in the morning assembly.
When we have assemblies over.
Monday is college signing day for everybody that's going to college. They sign a letter. And then Tuesday is just general awards.
Well, I ain't coming them 2 times.
Which day do we pick up the rock scholarship?
Tuesday, I believe.
Okay,
I think they usually do it on the normal awards, don't they?
yeah, I think so.
I ain't
But last
coming
year they
over.
did it on
And I
college signing day.
No, it's
No, it's
for
just like-
everybody. They try to make it for, so it's not all just athletics.
But early is always fun athletics.
It's not.